Well, good morning from Two Happy Children Farm. I'm on the edge of the field. I'm about to go in and get my next tissue analysis. I just wanted to give you guys some of the scenery. We're on a wet morning. We've had a couple inches of rain in the last couple days. It's muddy, it's humid, and we're around 1,300 heat units. So I'd say 50% silk. And it smells wonderful out here. You can just smell the pollen. I'm sure you guys know what that's like, and you'll be looking forward to that in your own fields. So this is my 10-acre field. It's the special project, typically low yielding. Working on it hard to try to get it up to where the other field is going. And this is where I have my low sample from. I've noticed though this year my low sample is often beating my high yielding sample in the tissue numbers, and I'm attributing that to that I'm building up the fertility here, and I have about a 15% lower plant population. So let's go in and get the low yielding tissue sample. So here we are in the low yielding part of the field. And kind of as I predicted, the tassel is maybe 8 feet to the tip, so it's not the tallest corn ever. We're seeing some nice silking here, so these guys have been silking for a couple days. I don't see any of the corn rootworm over here, and minimal plant damage from worms. So I think it's also a good deal to get out in the field and look at plant health. This is doing it. This will be my 9th visit to this section, so we're getting a good history here. Looking at the plants, here's our ear leaf. I'd say that's beautiful. So this is week where I'm going to be taking the leaf right off the ear. That's the ear that is the last one viable that's feeding that, or the leaf that's feeding that ear for the last week or two. So as it's been pulling the nutrition up from the roots, if we shut down the water, it'll start pulling it from the stalk, and if I have a good viable ear leaf, that'll carry me through to harvest. So we start pulling ear leaves this week. We'll do probably 16 of those, and then we'll go off to the other yielding areas. I am seeing some firing here at the bottom. Being short on potassium is finally starting to show up. It took 3 weeks of being deficient before I started seeing this type of firing. So that's 3 weeks where the plant was short on potassium, and then you see the firing. So compared to local fields, I'm in really good shape because they've been firing already for 2 or 3 weeks. So that means they'd been deficient for probably 5 or 8 weeks throughout the season. So we'll move on to the next field. Alright, so now I've picked up a new area of the field to sample. This is my 115-day split, but throughout the season it's been showing the best color all year, and I had some satshot photos from overhead that showed a distinct plant health increase at this part of the field. So I'm just going to be taking samples for the next 2 weeks out of here as well, anticipating that this might be my higher yielding spot for the field, and then the other one might actually be my average yielding spot. Something new this week that I'm noticing, let's see, we've got the potassium shortage, and what may be starting to be a nitrogen shortage on this part of the field too. So you can actually see them now. First time I've been able to see any type of deficiency. And we'll get some leaf analysis to correlate that. But it's really interesting because this is a good way for me to dial in my nutrition program If I'm running short on nitrogen at the end here, then I know I need to do something different during my program. And it's also a good sign, because if it's not a plant that's growing, it's not going to be using nitrogen. So it's probably a good sign that my plants are pretty well in balance with their nitrogen needs. But we'll see. So I'm going to get leaves here. I'm going to anticipate, it hasn't made an ear yet, but I'm going to be grabbing this leaf. And again, this part of the field is just really bushy. I am seeing the rootworm beetles flying here. But I think this will be my 9-foot tall corn, and hopefully high yielding. Here I'm in the high yielding part of the field that we've been taking all year, and we're silking, and I am seeing the corn rootworm larvae, so that's a concern for next year. You can see them flying around, and we've been deficient for 3 weeks on potassium, so we're seeing more pronounced look at that right now. So that's just amazing, it takes that long to show up. And I haven't seen any nitrogen firing down here, but there probably is. So we'll take 12 leaves here and get them shipped off and see where we're at. Excellent color on the leaves. This is the ear leaf. So let's get out of here. It's pretty wet.